welcome back to the Diaspora Divas podcast. Today you have your regular host,
Wonder
Jay. Let's take it back. Let's do it again. Welcome back to the Diaspora Divas podcast. You have your regular host,
Wonder
MJ, aka J Money.
and Lady OG. But what was that? You forgot your name, right?
I think I'm still in the spirit of we started or are we doing a rehearsal or which one it is?
rehearsal and introduction.
When have we ever rehearsed an introduction?
Never actually, but you know now when you do take one and then I don't know. Please, I don't know.
You
I just like exactly.
Anyway, happy Mother's Day, divas.
Hiya. Happy Mother's Day, everyone.
Yeah, did you do anything? How was your Mother's Day like?
I think even if you don't do anything, the life in Australia does it for you. You know, you think you had a day off, but then it's like I had to be in 3 different places in 1 hour because, you know, my kids are in different schools. And so, and then all of them are like 2 o'clock. And I literally was running from one place to another. So I had to first of all go to Resi school. And I'm like, and then they start with, you've got to paint nails. They were all prepared, do painting, have donuts, get her to put the icing on the cake. The paparazzi was too much.
I think when my kids come, I think from what you have said now, just to take a break on that day because look at the way you were shortling one child.
And then after that, then pictures, and then I'm like, I'm rushing to the next one, and then like, oh, I made it, and then boom, I rushed to the last one. I finished. I was like,
What a day!
You know. So
even when you are being celebrated as a mother, it's still work.
I'm telling you, because okay, now come to think of it now, you know, and you know, school would tell you, oh, put money in your child's stuff. They will organize that,
Yeah,
presents, and then that's on that level, and then you have church. You have so just depending on where you find yourself, the activities. I feel like I was exhausted. I needed annual leave after Mother's Day. It was too much.
But then if they don't celebrate us, we'll be like, you guys didn't do anything.
On the same day, my child in daycare had their Mother's Day thing. Was the same day. My kids in the primary school also had theirs. So my eldest was like, oh, Mom, I get to come to our school. I'm like, I can't because I need to go to the daycare and the distance is just too wide. It's not a place that I can just hop in and hop out of. So, sorry.
Yeah.
She was then like, okay, go because this will be my 3-year-old's first Mother's Day anything.
Yeah.
So she's like, it's fine.
Well, I think I was lucky because mine was all within 6 minutes drive. So,
mine is like 30 minutes
I
drive.
know, when you just said
By the time I get there, it's all done.
Except there's like
I
a 2-hour
can't
window.
relate. But soon though, hopefully.
Next year, Mother's Day.
Yeah.
In line with Mother's Day, I wanted to share some stories from different women, and we're picking this from Working Mom Diary page on Instagram. So 7 older moms shared moments that made them reevaluate their priorities as moms.
Aww.
This is Ronke, 59 years old. I spent my entire life being the perfect wife and mother, cooking, cleaning, making sure everything was in order. One day, my daughter looked at me and said, I don't want to be like you, mommy. You never do anything for yourself.
Wow.
That was a gut punch. I realized I had modeled self-sacrifice but not self-love. That's when I started living for myself bit by bit again, at least to show my kids that mothers are also women with their own lives. This one is very interesting because it's so easy for us as mothers to just forget ourselves completely in the grand scheme of things.
I'm married, but do you know that in this instance, this is where I'm grateful for Mom because she did all of those things. But my mother is a baby girl. Like my mommy, we go. In fact, we are not baby girls. You see our mom. Like she would literally make sure you do that self-care. Like she takes care of herself.
But what did she post again? Mother's Day drip.
Exactly. I need to see the pictures.
I saw it.
somebody saw me and said, we were tying our gele upstairs in church. I can't remember. Sister Sonia said, you people, you don't look like your mother at all. Like, you guys see people's mothers drape. Can't you people? I said, we try our best.
I'm trying.
So I totally can relate with this, that it's easy to lose yourself.
Yes.
Even us now as mothers, it's easy for us to just really work hard, see how we're working back to forth. And and you always tell us rest, but we're like, no, we got rest. And you can literally relate.
If there's
So
one
we try
thing-
not to be those kind of
Amen. If
try
there's
not to
one
do
thing
that.
I stay conscious of, is to not lose myself in being a mom, because I know there was a space in time where I was completely lost in it, and it's just a very comfortable place to stay because you are not thinking about yourself. You are doing all of this for your kids, but then kids really model what they see. And now my kids will look at me like, oh mom, you didn't do your nails. Are you going to do them soon?
Wow.
Or are you going to go to the shops for the pedicure? I want to come for a pedicure.
And I think we're beginning to have one with Orezi. Today, we were packing her bags and she told me that that's not the way to pack it.
Okay.
But that's not the way to do it. And she like, even her outfit today, I'm like, which one? No, I don't want that. I'm like, wow. So I was thankful that she's different from the ones that gave her. So I was telling Omari, I said, at least we have one Shakara queen in our midst. So Omari has to step up.
Thank God for internet.
What will you do with the internet?
So this other mom, Fumi, she's 58. She says, I was always the mom everyone could count on. The church group, my siblings, my friends need a caterer for your events. Fumi will cook. Someone needs to be picked up from the airport. Fumi will go. Meanwhile, my own daughter was constantly left, waiting for me to have time for her. One day she jokingly said, Madam, everybody except me. That's a bit, yeah. It was funny, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
That night, I looked at my to-do list and asked myself, why is my child always last? The next day, I started learning to say no to others so I could say yes to her.
Oh, it's really nice.
Yes. Still in the spirit of getting lost to yourself, you start to overlook your children's needs because you are constantly showing up for everyone.
That should always be first.
It just took me back to the self-care topic we had on Saturday.
Yeah.
And the question is, how many of us find it difficult to say no? And just really.
And I can tell you that it's you that they're talking to.
I wanted to say the first paragraph, they should have changed it from Fumi to Omari. Except Omari has time
No,
for her children.
Yeah, she makes
so
the time for her
exactly.
children.
So that's why I couldn't say, oh, this reminds me of
It's
Omari.
just the
But
saying no
other
part. Yes.
Exactly. So that's the only thing that Omari will literally give everything to everybody. So, yeah.
So this is from Sade, who's 55. She says, my son was involved in a minor accident while at university. And when I heard about it, I called him in a panic. Do you know what he said? Mom, I already called Dad, Uncle Tunde, and my auntie. I wasn't even on the list. I was devastated. I had always been the strict, no-nonsense mom, but I never thought it would push my own child away. That day, I decided that while discipline was important, emotional connection was even more important, and I had to be someone he wanted to call, not someone he was scared to. The fine line between discipline your child and being friends, being the person that they will call when they find themselves in
I wouldn't say
trouble.
that is actually an easy feat. I think that finding a balance sometimes just depends, because sometimes you might overdo it, sometimes you might underdo it. So
Yeah.
just finding the balance is
It's hard to find the balance though.
Yeah.
It's so hard to
Even
find
people
the
that
balance.
get it right, sometimes it was just try and error.
Yeah.
Because no one really knows.
There's no formula to
And
it.
you are not the only influence on your child. So they would go to school, they would have relationships with other people. So just remembering that mom is always should come first, kind
Mhm.
of. It's kind of like a prayer thing. Like, please, I pray, always come first. But we would put in our effort, put in the work to make sure yes we build this emotional connection. But I don't think it always works 100%.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So this is Joke, who is 60. I used to attend every wedding, every party, every function. I had a wardrobe full of ashwebi. So in case you don't know, if you're not Nigerian, ashwebi is your outfit. Yeah. So when people have parties, they have the same material.
A wedding uniform.
Yeah. So yeah, uniform. I think that's just the short form of it. Let me know over here. I had a wardrobe full of ashwebi I barely wore twice. But one day, my youngest son said, Mommy, I asked you to come for my school presentation and you said you were busy, but you had time to buy another party outfit. That thing pained me. He was right. I was showing up for social events but missing important moments in my child's life. From that day, I started asking myself, if this event clashes with my child's life, which one will matter more in 10 years?
Yeah.
How come we realize this at 50s and 60s?
No, they're just asking older women. So this would have happened at any
That's
time.
the age bracket. Yeah.
But this thing strikes me because sometimes I feel as a parent, it's something that I'm consciously working on, but I feel I minimize my kids' activities. Because if you're like, oh, we're doing something, I'm like, yeah, I need to be in the office today. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just going through the hassle to see you wave your hand on the stage for a second or two. But sometimes those things are really, really important to them.
They might even be looking out in the crowd for you while you go on stage just to get that.
Also, now when I go to their school events, you'll see me at the front with my camera. You got camera waving. I'll stay there and embarrass you, but at least you know that mommy was here.
So do you think that based on life in diaspora and based on our lives back home, if it is something that we grew up with our parents telling us that this is not important, what's important for you is to pass your academics, whilst when you're here in Australia, everybody sees it as a big deal.
The funny thing is, as a child, I remember clearly my mom was always there at the end of year presentations every year consistently.
Oh, nice.
And what made it fun for me was that every year consistently I used to come first in my class. So when they just say a first position, oh God, blah blah blah, and I'm coming out, she's there clapping, like cheering me on, and it's a core memory for me. But I try to be there at events that I think are important. But the events that I think are important might be different from what they want, like what is important to them. So like it's a fine line, finding the balance. Well,
everything with motherhood is finding the balance.
It's crazy. It's just it's a balancing act all around. Patricia, 65. She says, when my last child left for university, I sat in my quiet house and realized I had no idea who I was outside being a mother. My whole life had revolved around my kids, and now that they were grown, I felt lost. That was the moment I decided to rediscover myself, not just as a mom, but as a woman with dreams, hobbies, and a life beyond motherhood.
Oh,
wow. Bow, bow.
That one rang the bell.
Yeah, because we do everything for our children. We do change our schedules just to fit them, but it is what it is. We can only try our best. Because by the time you now say, okay, let me go for self-care, you find that you just want to use that 5, 10 or 1 hour to sleep.
Before they come back. And then the roller coaster continues.
So how do we rediscover ourselves? See, I literally posted on the group. I said we need to go somewhere. We need to go for vacation. And they literally first they were like, where are we going to drop the children? Who are we going to drop the children with? And then I said, okay, let's all go for the vacation together then.
No, that's not a vacation anymore.
Mom said no.
That's not a vacation anymore. But then this one strikes me personally because I remember conversations that I had with my mom. before she passed, when she would say, "Oh, go be very mindful to make sure you marry someone whose company you enjoy," because if you want to put all your heart and soul into your kids, they will grow up and they will live. And this man that you have managed to ignore for all these years is like two strangers just living in the house because you don't have the kids as your buffer to use and as your shield.
And I understand that because now you then begin to wonder why people say they're married for 25 years and part ways eventually. It's because that thing keeping them, the children, it's no longer. So when everyone has left the house, you're like, who's this person? What are you doing here?
I don't want you in my space.
Yeah. So because sometimes you don't understand, but then as you grow older, you begin to see that it does make sense.
Yes. Ngozi, 62, after my son got married, I noticed something. He barely called me. When I asked why, he said, "Mommy, growing up, you were always too busy for me. I got used to not needing you. That broke me. I had missed out on building a deep connection. It was painful, but I started making the effort to rebuild our relationship. I had to learn that intentional connection and love matters."
Yeah.
Man, motherhood work. This is Aisha, 53. One evening, my teenage daughter hesitated before talking to me. When I asked why, she said, "Because you just get angry." That cut deep. I always thought
Reminded me of something.
I always thought I was raising her with discipline and structure, but I never stopped to ask if she felt emotionally safe with me. From that day, I started working on my patience. I wanted my kids to know they could talk to me, not just obey me.
On our way here, I was telling Omari something. That's why I giggled. I told Omari that my daughter asked that they called me on Mother's Day. "Oh, hi, Mom. Happy Mother's Day. We love you. Okay, can you please send money so we can take Grandma out? Like, we want to give her a treat and all that." And I said, "Oh, that's fine." And I said, "Let me just go to the tree that I plucked money from. Tree, give me some money, And then guess what Muna said? "Wow, Mom. Mommy. And I don't know how Omari is to them like, what do you mean, mommy? So is that, are you trying to say that's how I always am? Yes. The way she just said, mommy. I feel really, yes. I feel really bad.
Let this one pass.
I feel bad. I don't want my children to see that they can, ask me for stuff and then without me complaining or saying, "Oh no, I can't do this yet." So I try better.
But sometimes, like with Adora, she'll say, "Oh, no need, Mommy, you just get angry." I said, "But say it first, let's see if I'll get angry or not."
Yes.
I will
How
try.
much they know you.
I will try to not get angry, but just say it, let's see.
But when they've said it, you can't get angry.
Yeah.
But of course, but when she preempts it like that, it then puts me on check because I know that now I can't get angry.
Yeah.
But side note, what if they're actually doing it to emotionally blackmail you, like so that you won't get angry?
You will not be level they can go at this
Yes.
age.
Because
you will
kids.
not. At this age, you will not.
Then, but sometimes, like with she's not even 10 yet.
Yeah.
But the sort of emotional maturity she displays sometimes, I'm like,
Comes with firstborns.
who's raising you?
What do you mean by it
It comes with firstborns. True. Yes. They have to be. Please, not today. I don't have your energy. Stay away from me. Although you were saying, please sleep together. I don't know who you are.
But when she preempts it like that, we have very meaningful conversations because now I've put my emotions aside and I'm just listening.
That's good.
And then in between, as we are talking, she'll be like, "Are you like?" She's even still checking. I'm like, "Look, it does not. Don't think you're not out there to look out for my emotions, right? I'm the mom. I should be looking out for your emotions. So don't think, oh, I'm going to get angry. It's not really your business. Just tell me what needs to be said, and let's work things out."
Oh, that's really nice.
But yeah, which of these experiences can you relate with as a mom? Or even if you don't have your own kids, I don't count people who don't have their own kids who are women as not being moms, because you can have your nieces, your nephews, even your younger ones. You're pretty much the one raising them or looking after them in one way or the other. So which of these experiences can you relate to, and what do you think you would have loved to hear that you've not heard here so far? Put it down in the comment section down below for us. Let us hear your thoughts. So Joy, you have today in history.
Yeah. Today in history, in 1981, Pope John Paul II survived an assassination attempt. But guess what? It's not the assassination that although it broke headlines, but he went to prison to visit the person who attacked him, and that just shows us how much just not as a Christian but as a human being, how forgiveness is important. That alone, he went out to show the public that forgiveness is important for us as human beings. He was able to show love. So it's one lesson for us now that we have a new pope that has just been elected. It's a significant title. Is there to remind us that there's hope in love and forgiveness. Yes.
Yeah, it reminds me of the passage in the Bible where Jesus himself said, if someone slaps your right cheek,
Turn to the other cheek.
turn to the other side.
No.
And then slap.
What do you want? That was on purpose now. You want to try.
Which one of those slaps were not on purpose?
Which is it's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
Because my natural default response is before your hand touch finish,
Yeah.
my odong.
Your inner, let's even say your own did not, but as you receive the sound of music, you respond.
Immediately.
I mean, he could have died. He went through an operation for
That's
over
true.
5 hours for them to save him.
And he still
went to see him, you know. I would have told them, take me to court.
But do you know that
You could lock him up and throw the key away.
when you remember this news that made headline, that driver that hit that this man, that the 3 of his children were driving on the pathway in Sydney here.
Wow.
The driver, so the 3 of the kids and the niece, and the driver just drove.
Oh my
Joy,
God.
4 died.
Oh my
He's
God.
3. And
That's crazy.
so your eyes. Well, I'm saying this because when that guy went on TV, he actually forgave the guy.
Wow.
Yeah. Your 3.
Some people are just exceptional.
I can't even think about it. I can't even think
On
about
the same
it.
day, losing that
3.
many people.
I can't think about it, man.
Well, anyways.
But I've come to a point where
Yeah,
never say never, because I find that with life, until you find yourself in that particular situation, you have no idea what your reaction will be.
No, today still, because even when they welcome the baby, it was still on the headlines. Because Scott Morris and everybody were there. They went to. I don't know how people will get over that, but that's a loss. 3.
That's a lot. Like how did
But it was how he came out and said he has forgiven that person.
wow.
I'm still here and I'm saying that.
Even if, God forbid, I'm the person, I don't even know how to even accept your forgiveness. Because can I even forgive myself?
He has a good heart. I won't say good heart, but to be in that position and open your mouth and tell someone I forgive you.
I was going to say that I think that forgiveness also helps you as the person to heal.
Oh yeah.
So I think maybe it's important, even though it might be hard, it helps to heal. Move on from whatever bad thing has happened.
Well, it does. There's a level of freedom you get from it, though, because then it's no longer on you. You just feel that I'm okay. I've moved on.
And you've dumped it on the person.
Exactly.
You've dumped it on the person.
Well, we keep preaching forgiveness. Even the other day, 2 Sundays ago, when Pastor was preaching on forgiveness, I think everybody just kept thinking in their heads. There's
all the grudge you held against someone.
The preaching will hit you different. You just be like, you just sit down there and be thinking.
But if your mind is Africa, even though,
why she should come and be begging for my forgiveness?
Even though. Anyway, in the spirit of Mother's Day, always lead with love. Have a forgiving heart. Try as much as possible to cultivate the spirit of forgiveness in your heart. And we hope you've enjoyed this episode. Until next time.
Wait.
Please like our videos. Share. Don't forget to comment. How would you have
Why
forgotten
did you
that?
sound as if something goes bad? Like
My
my
heart even beat fast for a
I'm looking
second.
at her face like, what just
Yeah, my heart is. Don't forget to like.
That's a very important part of this section.
Pacho, s'il vous plaît, s'il vous plaît.
You still have words in your mouth after that shot.
Please like guys.
How do you say
please in your language?
She don't know. Choo choo. Choo
Is
choo.
it choo-choo?
Yes, choo choo. We're Igede people.
Choo
too.
choo.
No.
Please don't make it podcast.
Choo-choo. Choo-choo.
Just please like and share. Please, you were closing. You can continue now.
For now to continue.
Until next.
Bye guys.